cooperated with management on was the approval of 90% of the financial registration concessions. 90% of what we proposed to management was approved in our first SRC management meeting. It was approved and students were able to register. That is why we had a seamless registration process, and we would encourage other SRCs to actually seek for assistance when it comes to this concession document, so that we can decrease the number of strikes within the province when it comes to registration time. Beginning of the year, there was a crisis within the fine arts department. Students who are doing a diploma in fine arts were told that they won't be able to register because their courses are not funded by NSFAS. But through our engagements with management, once again, we convinced management that these students, they should be able to register. NSFAS has never communicated such a thing, that these students will not be funded. And as a matter of fact, those students reported to me a few days ago that they have received their allowances. All of them, the whole class has received allowances. We have 2021 outstanding allowances. They are loaded. The 2021, if you remember, we had this crisis of B.Ed and law students who got approved late by NSFAS. So these students, they are reporting as of yesterday that the allowances, the outstanding allowances of last year, they are receiving them as of yesterday. So it is an improvement, and it's an accomplishment of this SRC through the engagement and through the pressure that we are always putting on management to resolve student issues. The accreditation of off-campus residences, meaning the private accommodation, as per the last communique from the Dean's office, the accreditation policy, I quote, "The accreditation policy for off-campus accommodation was approved by the University Council in December 2021 for implementation. This year, going forward, at this stage, we have developed specifications in alignment with DHEAD minimum norms and standards. The matter is now at the advanced stage, and the Supply Management Committee met this morning and approved the bid process, and is scheduled to be advertised this weekend, meaning from the 19th and the 20th, there would be an application for bids to happen. All potential service providers will be requested to submit their proposals for their suitable buildings to accommodate students. The process is envisaged to be completed before the end of March 2022. This is quite an important notice coming from the Dean's office, because currently we are having students who are living in detrimental circumstances, especially in East London campus. Those students, they just seeking for any sort of accommodation because they want to have a place where they can sleep for the night, meaning they would end up in places which are not desirable, places which are not actually suitable for students to be living in, a conducive, as I said, a conducive learning environment. So this is quite an important notice, and this is also through the pressure that we are always putting on our residence manager, Mr. Mzilingela. We are constantly bombarding him with phone calls as to this process must be completed, because it is important for students to have proper places of stay. Meaning the lease agreement forms, meaning the non-res forms, they will be issued out to students before the end of March, so that when we get to April, the process of allowances can start to unfold. On infrastructure, safety, and security, there's a crisis we are facing as an institution. We are currently facing a shortage of manpower from the side of securities. Securities were reduced quite a bit over December holidays, and currently we do not have students security posted at the doors of certain residences, which is it's a problem. It's a problem. As a result of that, we are seeing an increased number of GBV cases within our institution. Just as of yesterday, we received, over the past 2 days, we had received 6 GBV cases which are happening, and it's a direct result of us not having security posted at the gates, at the gates of the residences. It is quite important for management to start investing in this issue. Securities, we cannot have a residence without security for 24 hours. It does not make sense. There will be increased number of GBV cases, an increased number of rape cases, and most detrimental, there would be murders happening within our residences, and it would go unnoticed because, or it could have been prevented if we had residences, if we had securities posted at our residences. So a call to management, please do address this issue of security at our residences. Students do not feel safe at all. So can we please have our students safe so that we can have a proper learning environment. On the renovation of lecture halls, we are very pleased to announce that management are adhering to the call of SRC. So that to have a revamp of lecture halls. Maybe COVID-19 has presented us with quite a good opportunity or a great chance for us to actually invest time in the improvement of our lecture halls, to revamp everything inside, so that when we get to contact learning in 2023, students will have a new lecture halls, fresh lecture halls for everybody to enjoy. One of our buildings that burnt down last year, which is Eco Building, we are pleased to announce that by the end of August, the building would be handed back to the university. It is still in the hands of the constructors, of the people who are revamping it. It would be handed over back to the university in the end of August. And straight after that, they will be starting with the staff center, which is just in front of this building that we are in. They will be starting with that project, which has been like that for quite a number of years now. It burnt down in 2017. So that would be, it would be a proper accomplishment of this SRC. Also, there is preparations to have a staff center in East London, a student center in East London. It has been being talked about, this issue of student center in East London campus. They do not have any recreational facilities within the campus. So it is quite important for them to also have this issue of a student center where they can go for relaxation, where they can go and have a nice time as we are enjoying here in Alice campus. The CCTVs cameras around campus, there is a massive influx of as of last year, there was a massive or an increase in the number of thefts from our residences. I'm sure very few in this room have not been victims of theft from either fellow students or from outside intruders. It is a very positive step in what the institution has done to actually start with the installation of CCTV cameras. There are 6 cameras posted at the main gate. There are cameras being installed every day in our residences to actually monitor what is happening within our residences, so that we can see what is actually happening. It is quite important. Moving on to transport issues. This one, it's very close to my heart, this one. A few weeks back when we went to Grahamstown to go watch the Blues play, I was stuck next to the road for 2 hours because our transport had broken down, meaning I could not watch the Blues play where they played. I hear that was their best game that they played thus far. That game that we had missed, I was with the Alice Campus Premier in the same transport, so we could not watch the Blues play that day because of the transport of the university. Our fleet has many kilometers. All the buses have plus 500,000 kilometers on them. They are very unsafe for students, and we are calling on council to actually start with the procurement of new fleets for our students, so that we can be safe, because we never know when those buses will bomb. we never know when those buses will bomb along as they are carrying students. It opens up this institution to many liabilities. So we should do away with that fleet. We are calling on Council Procurement Committee to actually start with the procurement of these fleets, so that we can be traveling in style and be enjoying the luxuries of being safe as students. As I come to an end, colleagues, this SRC, colleagues, is an SRC. As I said, it's an SRC of students. We are a student representative council. All student issues, we are at the forefront of them. We are advocating for all student issues. You will never find any single SRC member on the fence when it comes to a student issue. We will always be advocating for that, for the improvement, for the betterment, for the betterment of the quality that students are experiencing within the institution. Thusly, this address was to report on the progress that we have made as an SRC. I am mandating, as the SRC president, I am mandating all campus SRCs. Premier, I'm mandating you to call a mass meeting within 2 weeks, so that you can take new mandate from what students want you to, what programs you should tackle. I'm mandating you to call a mass meeting within 2 weeks, so that you can gather all problems and we can start to work on those problems as a collective. Once again, colleagues, thank you very much. My name is Noe Hoka.
Thank you, Mr. President, for addressing our students, our fellow students. I'm not sure if I did mention that we are having university structures that are being recognized by the university, societies, and political organizations. So we are going to do it like this. We, just because we're not in a mass meeting, we are in an institutional address. So we are going to open it in some sort of conversation or in a form of engagement. Not basenivalele ngaphandle kodwa sisinkokheli sonke. So we're going to take few hands within the house in a form of engagement, not to submit or question anything. The president addressed anything just to brief the institution, the students, on what is really happening. As the SRC, we are the structure that is taking mandate from students that voted us into office. So in order for us to disperse our duties very well, it is a need that we must take a mandate from back to students. So I'm opening this round forces to just to have advices on how can we tackle some issues that are affecting us as the students. So we're going to take few hands. We're going to start from this side. Anyone who wishes to engage us with some other issues that we think or feel that we forgot to address at the ISRC, but if there are no hands, it's fine. I'm having a hope that on this side, yeah, we might have 1 or 2 or 3, just to engage forces. We're all leaders here. Hence, we decided to just call we usually call as permanent members of the ISP, people that have their own constituents within the institution. Leadership, new leadership, and also I think I'm having 1 from this side and also 3 here, and we must do away from this thing of men's forum. We want to have at least 3 or 4 females just to engage. Let's start with you first. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Fezile. Let me also thank and welcome the report of the SRC President, delivered by Comrade Snowy. Indeed, we are in a decade of renewal. We must applaud that. First and foremost, I did not even introduce myself. My name is Siamtanda Ngutwana. I'm a delegate of a society, which is the YBM Society, and I'm here to give an input, in fact, yeah. So let's applaud the decade of renewal. We can see that our SRC is also in alignment with the vision and the mission of the institution of the University of Fort Hare. Mine is to add, I think the President has not touched the issue of the telecommunication, which is the 5th generational network broadband. I'm raising this point as part of the teaching and learning. In Alice, there's a communication issue, a connectivity issue, of network, which is, I think we're still stuck in the 4th generational connectivity. And since 2019, there's been an invitation, or it has been created since 2019, the 5th generational connectivity. We need to, as an institution, in particular in Alice, because Alice now is a developing town, which is a student village. It's a student town. And in the most cases, we have students who are here and we are studying via laptops, and this thing of connectivity becomes a crisis. So I think the SRC with management should take a look at that issue, because connectivity is an issue. We need to upgrade from the 4G to the 5G generation. On another point that I wanted to raise was, I think part of the SRC and the SRC budget, my view that I would like to add is that we must be an institution where it offers sanitary towels, free sanitary towels, to all our female students. That should be sponsored like the toilet paper that we are given in our residencies. Each and every female student should have a packet of sanitary towels given by either Housecom, or it is accessible at student affairs, where a girl child must not struggle in an institution of higher learning. There must be free sanitary towels that are given to females. That is another point. And President, you've touched a lot of things, and I must say, as the SRC, you are working very, very well. We have not been seeing any negative or attitudes that are not okay. Students are still studying very well. Allowances are being given. And so we must applaud the status of our institution, that there is an SRC that is led, but also going into the issues of GBV. I think also, comrades of the SRC, the issue of GBV is a very serious issue and a crisis where it needs to be addressed. I think the SRC should have weekly programs. There must be programs that must keep on empowering our male, not only male, but also female students about the issues of gender-based violence. It's a very wide spectrum of a conversation to have. So we must not be narrow when looking at the gender-based violence. And it's a serious crisis where, as university students, we should be having discussions, recommendations, and not only give it only to management to host programs that empower us about gender-based violence, but it should come also from the grounds, from the students, that each and every week we must have weekly programs that conscientize us and tells us about the gender-based violence before it becomes another serious crisis, because we've seen that in our institution and we don't want to go back to that situation. Also, the improvement, there's an improvement in security. Yes, we must say. We must applaud where there's something good is happening in the institution. Because now the access of people at the main gate is no longer the same. Securities are working. They're making sure that if you're coming into the institution and want to gain access, you are known who you are you a student, or you're coming to visit, or whatsoever. So that's a very good thing. Let's applaud our securities for that. Also, in our social activities, and in particular in Alice campus, comrades, we don't have social activities as students. For instance, we don't have a park where if you are tired of studying, you can just go to the park and just chill or do that. We need recreational programs like that. We need social programs, and we can only get those programs through our SRC. So, siyacela, my comrades, I see in the 40-page thingy on Facebook, there are very young people there who are trying to activate social gatherings. Like a guy called Lunga doing movies, session and whatsoever. Those are good programs where outside studying, what do we do besides going to a disco? You see, that's what we need to touch on. SRC must create our social activities. And then lastly, the president did not touch a very good initiative that was done by our premier of the Eastern Cape Provincial Premier, which is Premier Lubabalo Oscar Mabuyane, about the funding that he injected in our universities in the Eastern Cape to assist students. President utache kwi-SETAs, funding ze-SETAs. But students are also looking at that funding, and they want access kuyo, and they want to know how is that funding going to assist us as the students of the University of Fort Hare. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Leon. Can we have speaker? Former speaker. Please speak up, be very, very brief and precise. We are running out of time.
All right. Thank you very much. I must pass my sincere greetings to you, the SRC president, the entire SRC, the media team. I believe it is led by TK, and all societies present. I'm the former speaker of the Institutional Student Parliament. First, I think we must stoke the initiative taken by the SRC. I think this is the first of its kind. It's a good precedent that is set and to be followed by generations to come. So we expect to see the state of the institution addressed at the sports complex somewhere next year. Well, I think I must actually have an engagement on the transformation of education system. The education system is a problem across the country, across maybe some parts of Africa, wherein you study and then you expect to be employed. You actually don't create your own employment and what have you. I think that lies within the framework of the country, which is the NDP. The NDP must be a policy, or that rather must be a policy document which actually speaks to the pragmatism of the education system, which would be suitable for South Africans, for young people of this country. Number two, I think the institution is actually driving a wheel of a decade of renewal. I think it began in 2017, and I think it's 5 years from now, 2022 to 2026. What is important, that a blueprint must be made available to students. It must be debated, it must be critiqued, it must be analyzed, so that we are able to own it, to propagate it, so we are the advocates of that document, of that blueprint, which is called the Decade of Renewal. I think the SRC must actually make it a point that the document is available to all leaders of societies, to all students, by the way. And the theme of the address is saying the year of students. The president did not touch on the development and the working around of a student governance. We need to have a proper plan of student governance. How do we revamp student governance, student societies, through political organizations, through the SRC? What are the activities attached to the development of student governance? I think those are the issues, but I believe this is not the last of its kind. We're going to open for debates. I believe that we have student parliaments that will actually open for more of these platforms so we can have further engagements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, former speaker. Let's have leadership. Yes, leadership. Leadership done. Please.
Thank you.
Very briefly.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. I'll be very brief.
Don't forget to introduce yourself.
Okay, right. My name is Asipet Junior Soteni. I'm a fourth-year student and also a Dani, and I'm very proud of my colleague there, Mr. President. That was a beautiful presentation. I'm proud as a fellow teacher as well. I'll be very brief. So my comment is on, firstly, I would like to say that this type of program that involves students and modernizes such issues or such programs that are about the students should go for everything that involves students, that is for the students, should be modernized, and this flavor that they've added involving us as the Danis, of course, and involving the models. I mean, it's basically involving people of interest in the university, because it's going to attract the students into actually watching the lives, because there've been programs which are about the students, which are for the students, but since as a regular student, you just see that as it's just a formal event and it has no interest to you. But since they see familiar faces, they're gonna. I'm speaking as a student, on a student perspective, that it's gonna bring more interest to me to actually watch the program, which is for me and about me. And also another thing, I would like the SRC and the management as well to focus on programs that encourage discipline and good behavior, and also support the boy child, because as the guys, we are the mostly affected by mental illnesses and all of these emotional illnesses. And there are programs, yes, that are for that, but they should also be modernized in such a way that they're going to be attractive to us. I'm not saying that they should be accommodative that much, but they should be more accommodative so that we can actually go there, because there are endeavors that have been held, but they should be more accommodative. Maybe just add that flavor that they've added here as well, that, okay, there's going to be Dundee, there's going to be models, there's going to be this and this and this, so that we actually go to them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, leadership. Konukomanis Pangasem for leadership. The last. I'm hoping that you are going to have just at least 2 females. I'm hoping.
Good evening, colleagues.
Oh, sure.
Sir. My name is Edie Similas, a Mpumalanga student. I just want to add something. The university this year, it has proposed that, it has encouraged that those students who don't have a residence can go and live off campus, right? So I was proposing that, how would it be that the university can actually organize a shuttle for those who are staying off campus, since some are staying in bogus places, and there's a lot of income in Kosa, and most are not safe, and some are staying in places which are more or less around 10 to 15 kilometers away from the campus. And what's going to happen when it is rainy days and stuff like that? I thank you.
Thank you very much, leadership.
Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Siamgala Mbanyana. I'm representing Young Communist League of South Africa as a chairperson, and on the other side, I'm representing the Ward 11 councillor, which is Comrade Luxolo Ngala as a delegation. Chair, I've got 2 points. I've heard the representation or presentation from the UFH president, which is President Snowy Hawker. Chair, I just want to raise these points as a point number 1. We are having unfunded students, which is like specifically first year students and the senior students that are being unfunded currently. We are saying to you as a mandatory, as the UFH 21-22 SRC that are being representing a student of 40, that Comrade Councillor must engage together with Dean of Students and the leading SRC that are being led by now, that there must be a food drive from Student Affairs Division as from or by next week from
Yeah guys, yeah siphila ke kuloma xesha nzima ya amaxesha eCovid. And umongameli usanokubhengeza kuba siku level